So let's look at both. Here I have my parameters again, and for instance I could turn my regraining option on. So after the interpolation we would add some grain to have a better match. So I zoom in here a little bit, and I'm just showing you the interpolator on it, and it's the same as the dust. I draw a region around it. Oh, difference mode is still on, and I instantly see the result of it. If I want to delete an operation, so like any operation, I have a shortcut for that, which is simply pressing the delete key or the delete button over here. Or there's another way to do it, just do an undo. So there are 3 different ways to undo the last action. In this case I press delete and I see my button again. And to do interpolation with a brush, I select my brush tool, and you see 2 circles, and this is, one is the brush, its size itself, and the second circle indicates the softness of the brush. So I can paint interpolation with a certain softness. Of course I can change the size of my brush by either opening up my brush settings dialog, or here I see the shortcuts also. I could use Shift and mouse wheel, or Shift plus S and mouse wheel for the softness. So that's what I normally use. Go there and can, with Shift and mouse wheel, I can adjust my brush size, and with Shift S and mouse wheel I can adjust the softness of the brush. When I paint something, I would get a red mask. That's my painting mask, and as soon as I release the mouse button, the interpolation started and is interpolating it. If I don't like the last result, just delete it again. You see? Oh yeah, that's why. You can make it smaller and fix that, like this. We have seen now 2 different ways for semi-automatic restoration. Next, I would like to show you a manual kind of restoration, and this is called the cloning tool. So let's find a nice spot again, maybe over here. And if you want to fix this by hand, I would select now as tool my clone tool. Let's zoom in a little bit, and you see here the parameters again of the cloning tool, and the offset frame from the frame where I want to clone from is set to +1, which means I would use the next frame. So let's look. Yeah, next frame looks good, and I can then actually paint the information from the next frame into this frame. So the brush works similar. I have the softness and the size, and to adjust the size, just use Shift and mouse wheel, and then I can brush over it. And as you can see, the background does not fit perfectly, so I need to move the background a little bit. And for doing this, there are several ways. The most easy one is to use the Auto Align tool, which will automatically align background and foreground. And for this, I just need to press the A key, like this, and it would automatically align foreground and background. So if I play this in sequence now, looks good. If the luminance between the reference frame or the offset frame and the current frame would change or would be different, I could automatically correct the luminance by pressing the B button for the brightness or luminance. There are other ways to adjust the background. Maybe I show it like I do something more obvious. Make a big brush, actually, And now I would paint out his face, okay? And with the holding down the Alt key and with the left mouse button, actually I can move the background to adjust it. As you see, offset X and Y is changing here as well. Actually, I could change the offset over here as well to do fine adjustments. Or I go into an image region and hold down the Alt key and double click on this, which will bring the information up here in the clone. So Alt and move moves the frame, or Alt double click brings this information back in here. And if I change the offset frame, actually I would select a different frame as input for my cloning operation. I also could adjust the input by rotating it or scaling it, or for instance adapt the luminance manually if I want to. Every clone stroke now is individual. So if I clone something over here, let's clone in this, it's not affecting my last cloning region. So every stroke stands for itself. But if I want to add a stroke to this, I would need to hold down the Ctrl and Alt key, and I paint it, and you see this plus, and now I'm adding something to this stroke. And if I now change the background by moving it, for instance, I would get this in for this paint stroke. And of course I can repeat this to add another stroke onto it. Okay, so we have learned now some basics from DustBuster Plus for interactive restoration with the Dust and Interpolate tool, as well as for manual restoration with the Cloning tool. Several more tutorials will follow to describe the functions in more detail. Thank you for your audience.